there. We are in the building, man. We got a lot to talk about, man. Happy Saturday morning to everybody. Mike D right here. And we're going to get into a lot. Thumbs up in the chat, man. Good morning to you all. Ron's in the spot as well. J. Cole just shook up the world. And I'm not even just talking about the 7-minute joint. And we're going to get to that. Yeah, 7-minute drill was hard. There are a lot of people out there trying to say that it's not what it is. We're going to break that down too. But this project, I've been listening to it all morning. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you guys, shout out to everybody in the building. I see Mad Max is already here. I see LeRoy's already here. We're going to get to everybody as well. I think we'll do some call-ins also to get people's perspectives. But what I do want to start this off with is to say that J. Cole is the best MC in the game, undoubtedly, right now. He's the best that we have. I think that this offering that he just surprised us with right before Dreamville Fest, which is this weekend, and I'm going to get to that too, because I think there's a huge Summer Jam type opportunity that J. Cole may be taking advantage of this weekend as well. But might delete this later. It gives me hope, I would say. And I don't even want to say hope. He did it. He pretty much made the album that everyone feels that he has the potential to make based on his skill set. It has hits on there. It has bars on there. I see people in the chat already talking about Pi and Absol's performance on there, and even having Absol on this project with everything that's going on, I think it's telling in itself. And not to delve too much into that, but Absol's mic performance on there, in combination with J. Cole's mic performance on there, what J. Cole's been doing on the mic for the past 30 months, we'll say. I mean, this is getting hip-hop hot already. And I know everybody in the chat's already excited. But yeah, anybody who thinks that Kendrick's up right now, I don't know. I don't know if there's an up situation here. Kendrick's verse on Future and Metro's album, it was one to kind of, get things started, right? But I think this response for J. Cole was perfect. And for the people who feel like it wasn't hard enough, or it wasn't this or that enough, I don't know exactly what you're expecting, because both of these guys are, introverted MCs, right? And we're kind of playing a game of subliminals. It's funny, like, we haven't even seen these guys say each other's name yet with all of this going on. And so I don't know if anybody expected J. Cole to jump out the window and just say, fuck Kendrick Lamar, yada, yada. But you're not going to get that kind of energy, at least not from these guys, and at least not at this juncture of it. Mad Max in the super chat says, week back and forth from Titans. I've seen I don't do warning shots. I empty clips. See if the other side can survive it. That's the thing though, Mad Max. And you're right. It's like, out of the three guys, the quote unquote big three, and I don't want to say quote unquote like it's not true. It is what it is. They're the three biggest of their generation. Which one of these guys has that kind of energy where they're just going to go all the way in on some, hit them up type stuff? I don't think we're going to get that. But I will say this. The stage has been set for Kendrick to be that person, because Kendrick seems like the odd man out. It's kind of like a 2-on-1 in a situation with the fact that, J. Cole and Drake are working together. They're going on tour together. They're doing a lot of things, in concert. And even if you listen to songs like Fever from this new project from Cole, you can hear some level of Drake influence there, right? And not saying that, that's a bad thing. They've been hanging out together. They've been on tour together. So those type of things rub off. We talked about that even when Nas was on tour with Wu-Tang. Like, those things rub off, and those are a good thing when you got artists coming together and doing tours together and kind of getting the best of one another for their own material. Shoot, I'm sure J. Cole has done some things that'll probably rub off on Drake's next project as well. But saying all that to say, a lot of the things that J. Cole had to say about Kendrick on 7-Minute Drill are some things that we've been saying here. And I'm not just saying we as in the people on the mic, but you guys as well in the chat. I think that it is a the grassroots of hip hop understand that Mr. Morale is not really what the mainstream made it to be, and it arises a question: are Kendrick's albums as critically acclaimed to the hip hop listener as they are the hip hop journalists and the mainstream media personalities, if you will? Because I was telling Ron the other day, I think it might have been yesterday, To Pimp a Butterfly, when I first heard it, I loved it. I still do. And I remember going all in about how incredible To Pimp a Butterfly is, and nobody was, echoing those sentiments. At least not even on a mainstream level, not even on a street level. But years later, you see everybody holding that album high, and it's like it seems phony in that sense, especially for a person who was actually riding for that album. And I've mentioned it before, and I'll never forget it. When Kendrick was out there promoting Damn, I think it was, he was on Big Boy's show, and they asked him to put his albums in order. He put To Pimp a Butterfly second to last. And me as a listener and a lover of that album, I was slightly disappointed. I was like, wow. And I mean, I get it. He was out promoting Damn at the time, but you would think that if To Pimp a Butterfly is everything that they say it is now, it would have always been held to that level. Mad Max with the super chat says, and I feel bad because the corporate side, they'll never go there. Cole's pie shots are better than the 7-minute drill, and people trying to cancel him is transphobic. Again, that's mainstream stuff. Listen, man, this is hip hop. And not to say that everything's okay and nobody needs any level of discrimination or hate, but the things that we've heard on hip hop records for the past 40 years, I don't think that one right there is going to make anyone say, you know what, I can't mess with Cole from here on out because of that line. We've heard a lot of things, especially on diss records, and we can't have it both ways, right? We can't say that these are light shots and then say that there's such an offensive line in here that this man should be canceled. Was it R-rated or was it G-rated? Which one is it? So we can't go there with that. What do y'all, you know what? Let me put a poll out here while we're getting all this together. I want to put a poll. Who is up right now? Who do you guys think is up right now? Let's see. We'll put Kendrick's name first because he jumped out there first. J. Cole.
Well, no, Mike. He didn't jump out there first. The first shot was on first person shooter. Let's be for real.
From who?
From J. Cole. I mean, that whole record was a bait. There was a bait Kendrick. That was the first real. That was the first real shot. And Drake's been throwing subliminals for a minute then. So it wasn't the first shot for real, for real.
Well, I mean, it was the first one that really jumped out there. I don't think that people listen to first person shooter and say, you know what, Kendrick got to respond. I think when Kendrick went all the way out there and made it very clear that, it was a response to that record. But yeah, I got what you're saying. That, like I said, first person shooter is kind of like when Memphis Bleak went out there on Mind Right, Money Right.
Right.
But what did you think of the album? We got Ron over here on the line too.
What I thought about the album, I thought if we going on source scale, if you see my shirt, I don't know if you can see it. Let me move the banner out the way. This is what I thought about the. Well, I'm not saying J. Cole's the GOAT. I'm not saying that, but this is what I'm saying about the album. This is what I thought about the album. Checkmate. Checkmate. He got him, man. He got the album. If I'm going on the source scale, is a dope album, man. I mean, he's got some stuff for the ladies. He's in his pocket right now. And I'm seeing a lot of response. He's in his prime. He's saying that he's aging backwards like Benjamin Button. It's like Hove dropping Reasonable Doubt last. I mean, if you look at the whole record, it's like it's a diss record. It's a diss tape. I mean, you start off with the first joint. Then you got Hunting for Wabbits. You got Pie was the dope. I mean, he's killing them on Pie. I mean, he's killing them on Pie. I mean, Trey Truth with an Ibiza with Trey, you know what I'm saying? He's dropping subliminals all throughout the record, and then 7-minute drill is just the icing on top. I thought it was good. I think he can step into different flows and deliveries that Kendrick can't do right now. I mean, he's got the only record I didn't like was the Fever record. the one that Drake worked with him on. But other than that, I thought the album was dope.
Allegedly worked with him on, but it does sound like a Drake thing. Matt Max of the Super Chat says the first shot from Cole was Heaven EP. When Cole said, "I'm the best out," it fails to hit it fails to hit you because you failed for the bells and whistles, and that was the dot shot. Well, I'm glad you said that about the bells and whistles. I think that these guys are of the same generation, but they have very different approaches, right? J. Cole hits you from I don't want to say a 90s aesthetic, but just what hip hop is to the core, like beats and rhymes. It's no special effects, it's no, crazy vocal changes and throwing your voice through all these different personalities, if you will. And I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying that, I think that's kind of what this era goes on. Look at what Nicki Minaj did, where she has like different personalities in her flow. And Kendrick does a lot of that too, where he does the different voices, different characters. And I think that there's an era, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because a lot of y'all are part of a certain era that loves that and actually factors that in when it comes to an MC skill set and think that that is what pushes you forward to be a greater MC. There is also a certain era that feels like that's gimmicky and they would rather just hear somebody rhyme and already sound comfortable on the mic. So those are two differences from, two different guys in the same generation. And some people lean more towards Cole because they think what Kendrick does vocally is kind of corny and weak. And some people lean towards Kendrick because they think of what he does vocally is creative and innovative, right? So you already got that separation in itself. And the deciding factor for me has always been the albums, right? I think that Kendrick has made better albums than Cole. I think DJ Academic even just went on the tirade talking about Kendrick and his quality when it comes to albums. But J. Cole to not only put out this record, the 7-minute drill, he actually put a project with it. And then the project was actually really dope. And that right there, I think, is the shot. It's like, okay, we need you to come with a dope project because you haven't really come with a resounding dope project. What time is it? Was it 2017? What was that? 7 years ago now? So Kendrick's not only going to have to respond with the record, he's going to have to respond with a few records. And I do think it is a legitimate thing to say you only got 3 features or 3 or 4 features in 30 months or whatever it is. Like one hot verse. Like, what's his dopest featured verse really over the past 7 years, if we're going to be honest? Was it the Future one? Or is there anything before that? Just John with the super chat says, J. Cole's up because MDL littered with dot headshots. HFW, Sin, PL. Hold on one second. Hello? Hello? Oh, okay. Oh, did we go out for a second? Okay. Just John with the super chat says, Cole's up because MDL littered with dot headshots. HFW, SNS, PI, a pie. And we got 7MD, all a dot. And yes, Future Metro too. Oh, did we go out for a second? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we back now. We back there. We had some technical difficulties. AT&T came and just knocked something out real quick. We back.
Well, where did I leave off? Hold on one second. I want to make sure there ain't nothing on my end. Okay. But yes, I think that it was very important that not only did J. Cole come with a song, he came with the full project. And I think that it's being exposed that Kendrick Lamar's feature game is not up to snuff. And I think that it is great that J. Cole is highlighting the fact that his feature game is on a whole nother level right now. And he's actually putting forth the songs on this mixtape, album, whatever you want to call it, to match that energy. And that's very important because not only is Kendrick going to have to respond with a song, but I think he's going to have to respond with a collection of songs because at this point, J. Cole's the guy, and you're going to have to give us a lot of material to prove otherwise. I don't think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers proved that Kendrick was the best rapper of that calendar year. He doesn't have any features to actually, solidify that as well. You did some research on of Kendrick Lamar's most recent features. What did you find, Ron?
Well, I can show you better than I can tell you, Mike. I mean, we talk about if you're looking at this as a sport, which rap is a competitive sport, styles make fights, and J. Cole has too many styles right now for Kendrick to kind of keep up with. I mean, I talked about it earlier. You want to go into some slick street talk, J. Cole can do that. You want some pop records, he can link up with Drake, he can do that. You want to do something for the ladies, he can do that. You want some rapidy rap stuff, he can do that. I did some digging because he made a bar. Let me see if I can pull that bar up. What did he say? He averaged like one hard verse every 30 months. So I went back 30 months, right? Just to see what it looked like. And over the past 30 months, I mean, Cole's got about 15 plus features, right? Couple notable ones was First Person Shooter, London, All My Life with Dirk, There I Go, The Secret Recipe with Yachty, Johnny P's Caddy with Benny. And then I could only find, then he's been on 2 tours. He was on tour with 21 Savage, been on tour with Drake. And I can only find, 3 features in the last 3 years that Kendrick's got.
What are those?
The Look Over Your Shoulder joint with Busta.
I want to say something about that. The Look Over Your Shoulder sounds like an old Kendrick verse. For the people that don't know the song we're talking about, the Busta Rhymes song that's on ELE2 from 2020. It sounds like Kendrick from 2000. It sounds like Section 80 Kendrick, actually. You know what I mean? It doesn't even sound like Good Kid, Mad City Kendrick. So if that's being counted here, I think that's telling too. But go ahead.
So, I mean, so it's like that. So if you're not counting that record, it's like that.
And like that. What's that?
That's the song on Metro.
Oh, yeah. That I'm not. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm tripping.
That, and he got a song with Taylor Swift. And that's it.
Oh, so it's just the Future song Like That and the song with Taylor Swift. I know he did a remix verse for Beyonce on America's Got a Problem.
Okay, so there's 4. So say to give him 3 or 4, and I was off by 1. You still got 15 plus Kendrick J. Cole joints. That's crazy.
What are we missing? Family Ties. So people are counting some Baby Kim stuff.
Okay.
Baby Kim stuff, yeah.
Okay, we're missing that. Okay, so we still we have 5. Okay, we have 5. I missed that one.
Okay. Yeah. The Beyonce remix is on there. I'm trying to see what other people are talking about in the chat.
It still ain't more than 15, Mike. It still ain't more than 15.
Did y'all like the Baby Keem verse that he did? He did a couple of verses for Baby Keem.
Did you like them, Mike? What did you think about those verses? Were they like that?
Nah.
Okay.
The only verse that was like that is the Like That verse. But I think
and I don't even think that verse was really like that, man. Let's be for real, man. It was more so the beat. It's that vocal stuff that he does, that toot, and that cadence. It's not like that, Mike. Let's be for real.
You're not feeling the vocal.
Let's be for real, man. If I came from outer space, man, and I came from the 1980s and 90s, any era of hip hop, and I put on some J. Cole records, I just say, hey, man, I'm on the street corner of Harlem or Raleigh, North Carolina, or LA, Atlanta, and I'm hearing these 2 cats rap. Come on, man.
So you saying Kendrick ain't like that?
He ain't like that right now. We talking about 2024. In the last 30 months, let me put the lyrics back up because I think y'all didn't understand what Cole was saying, man. I didn't understand what he was saying. He's averaging 1 hard verse like every 30 months or something. If he wasn't dissing, then we wouldn't be discussing him. It's the truth.
So, so let me jump into the mind of Cole real quick. So Cole is basically saying that Like That verse is the first verse that Kendrick's had in the last 30 months that's actually connected, right?
That's true. Ain't nobody was really talking about them Baby Keem records like that, man.
They weren't.
They weren't.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I do a hip hop podcast. It's true. They weren't. And even when he jumped on the Beyonce remix for America's Got a Problem, I mean, it's not like that even registered too much. I mean, because Beyonce is making a country album now. It just made a country album. So it's not like they rode off of that. And I don't even know one single bar from the Taylor Swift feature. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a problem too, man, when you get to the point and you're sitting here doing Taylor Swift, and I say this respectively, Beyonce features, and it's all this hip hop going on right now. Like, you got niggas out here like Freddie putting out material. You got J. Cole jumping on the record with Benny and putting on a performance like he did on Johnny P's Caddy. Even Drake goes out there and raps with rap niggas, man. Like, And people want to call Drake pop, but this guy gets to only go out there and feature with Beyonce and Taylor Swift over the past 4 years. That's unacceptable.
It's part of the machine. It's part of the machine, Mike. It's part of the illusion. I see a lot of bots, a lot of algorithm out here trying to say that J. Cole ain't body this man on this record. It's not true. Now, it's either a couple people.
Well, it wasn't meant to body anybody. You know what I'm saying? It was meant to actually just set the stage and respond and be like, yo, this nigga's not like that right now.
But he set the stage. But he set the stage on the whole Might Delete This Later record. It's just not the 7-minute drill record. I think people are missing the point. He bodied him on Pie. Ready, the song with Cameron, Hunting for Wabbits, Crocodile Tears, the intro with Gucci. Come on, man. I mean,
let me get
I mean, for real. I'm being for real, y'all. Y'all need to hit us up and let us know what y'all think. But for real, let's be for real. Can we be for real?
Super chat says, yeah, the Andre Buster Syndrome dot been copying Nicki, and he got a worse voice than all of them. We done with Kendrick. You're not Kobe.
It's checkmate, man. It's over.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I want to be fair to Kendrick. OG Weston with super chat says, Cole said we wouldn't be talking about K. Dot if he wasn't dissing. That's facts.
Facts.
And I think that verse, it kind of highlights that. Like, listen, we don't even know those features. And I'm not trying to be, tongue-in-cheek, disrespectful, whatever. I like Kendrick. I was a fan of what Kendrick had done from Section 80 up into Damn. But if we're being perfectly honest, I mean, his features, they're nothing to talk about. And the only one to talk about is Like That. And the reason why we're probably talking about it is because J. Cole, Drake, Future, and Metro and all those guys were involved. I was really shocked and surprised to even hear Kendrick's voice on that song, because I'm sitting there riding around listening to the Future and Metro album. I hadn't looked on the internet or anything to see, who was on there, whatever. And then when I heard Kendrick, I'm like, is that Kendrick? Because, and my first thought wasn't, is that Kendrick because, the verse was dope or it was starting off dope. I was thinking that because Kendrick doesn't rap with anybody. And when you isolate yourself like that, especially in a very collaborative era, when you do show up, you really got to show out. And we got to ask ourselves, like, for somebody who set the tone on a verse like Control, talking about he was going to be competitive with all his peers and he was going to kill everybody on records, we got to ask ourselves, like, why aren't you featuring more often or as often as some of your contemporaries? Is it because you're bigger than it all? Is it because you're above it all? Because you only, do features with Taylor Swift and Beyonce? Or do you not want to compete? And if you don't want to compete, that's fine. But you set the stage in your era for that kind of competition. Like, you did want to compete. And then you just went out there on Like That and said, it's no big three, it's big me. You talk like you want to compete, but you're never competing. And I think that's my only issue really with Kendrick as a whole. It's like, if his fan base will go out there and play the other side of him and be like, well, he's an introvert. He's a creative. It takes time. He's about quality over quantity. That's fine. But you put the narrative out there that you wanted to compete and you were going to be competitive and you don't compete. And that's a problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? And to me, that's like a heavyweight champion going out there and trying to sit on what they did 7 years ago and never taking a fight. Like, no, you're not the guy. You can't be. Now, you can turn that around if you want to go out there and, change up what you're doing. But what you've done over the past, 6-7 years, you haven't been competing. And so all of that competitive talk and all of that, you being this and that and being number one and big me and this and that, it's not legit. It can't be. You don't compete. Mad Max with the super chat says, if you ask the average Dot fan to talk about Dot, they say he won a Pulsar, Grammy, Control, Like That, Family Ties, all the verses where he name dropping, smoking on top fives or direct subs. I'm tired of hearing about the Pulsar Prize from Kendrick fans too. That doesn't mean anything in hip hop. It's a great accomplishment. It's a great award. Very prestigious. But at the end of the day, in hip hop, what does that really mean? Why do we validate that in hip hop because it was the first. I mean, was Jackie Robinson the best black baseball player ever? Of course not. So
I don't know, Mike. Like I said, I'm not, Section 80, To Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid, Mad City. Damn. I mean, Kendrick Lamar is a wonderful artist. We understand that, but it's 2024. And if we just talking about today, he's if we talking about the big three, hell man, if we being honest, Mike, he would have to be 3 and out of the big 3 right now at this moment.
Oh, at this moment, he has to be.
From a music standpoint.
He doesn't work. He doesn't go to work. You know what I mean? Like if we were talking about in 2017, this would be a different conversation, but you can't just not do anything and feel like you keep your spot. It doesn't work like that. And again, if it's not about that, it's not about that. But this guy is the one that makes it about that because he's always talking about competing. I don't think I've ever seen an MC in hip hop that talked about competing so much that never stepped in the ring ever. Like we're supposed to just sit there and give you this because of the fact that you were co-signed by Dre. Like, I think that he thinks he's going to get the Eminem treatment or something. Like they're going to just give you the spot. Maybe he sat back and saw Eminem get all these accolades and his resume and career and aura grew over 20 years of doing nothing. But that's not going to work for you, bro. That man has a whole different audience. And really, it's not a hip hop audience.
It's not. What do you say for the people that's saying that the response was mid? It was boring.
Well, what I say is, what do you expect? Because if a nigga went out there, I think those people want somebody to go out there and just call somebody out by name and throw dirt out there, I guess. This is more of a war of words, but everybody's being very meticulous about how they're doing it. I think everyone's trying to play chess here. I think everyone's trying to be subliminal. And honestly, on a mainstream level, and we said this like months ago, the subliminal time is kind of over. At some point, somebody's going to have to jump all the way out the window. And I think that's where the fans are at this point. But I will say this, we got to be fair. If you're going to say that it's mid for those reasons, you got to say the same thing about Kendrick's verse as well. I think both of them did what they were supposed to do. But now I think the subliminal time is over. And I think there's 2 ways this can go. Dreamville Fest is this weekend. J. Cole is performing in Charlotte, North Carolina at his own festival. This is a great summer jam opportunity. And for the people who might not know what I'm talking about when Jay-Z went out there at Summer Jam and put Prodigy on the screen and debuted Takeover right there in front of New York City. I think if someone makes a move like that, and J. Cole has the opportunity to make a move like that, based on where Kendrick is in his career right now, it would be very difficult for Kendrick to come back from that. Now, granted, I felt the same way about Nas in the Jay situation, and Nas came with Ether. So you can't count somebody who has a skill set out. But in the situation with Nas, he had just come off of Nostradamus, but he wasn't gone as an MC. We haven't heard any evidence in a very long time that Kendrick Lamar can be the guy that we heard in 2015, 2017. We haven't heard it in features. We haven't heard it on the album. This hillbilly stuff just ain't it. It is what it is. So if J. Cole hits him with the jugular at this point, I don't think that Kendrick can come back from that. The way that J. Cole's rapping right now, the guy that I'm hearing on this project, the guy I'm hearing on Pie, the guy I'm hearing on 7 Minute Drill, I don't think that if he goes full in on Kendrick, I don't think Kendrick can respond adequately. I don't. I mean, I don't have any faith in that. I honestly would tell Kendrick at this point, might want to fall back a little bit.
Yes, that's what I would say. If I was in his camp right now, that camp is listening. I would tell them, if you're listening, to make some records, make an album. That's the best thing you can do right now.
The best thing he could do. The best thing he could do is make a very dope album and kind of touch on this a little bit. But as far as the back and forth right now, you're not really in a position to go back and forth with guys that are active, with guys who have a feature like the Lil Durk record, because the biggest thing that Kendrick has is his album making ability. And he hasn't shown us that recently either. So he can't even lean on that. Now, if Mr. Morale was an incredible album or something to that magnitude, sure, he can lean on that and then just go make another album, but he would still have to make another album. But what J. Cole's been doing from Johnny P's Caddy to All My Life to, I mean, damn near everything that he's been on, the way that he's rapping and what we're hearing on this project, I mean, I just don't have any reason to believe that Kendrick Lamar in 2024 can out-rap J. Cole. I don't have any reason to believe that he can make an album better than this at this point. That's the thing, too. Like, a Kendrick fan could go out there and say, yeah, Damn is better than this, or Butterfly is better than this, Good Kid, Mad City. Yeah, sure. But can Kendrick make a better album than this right now? And if you ask me that right now, I say the answer is no. Matt Max of the Super Chat says his fans talk about hits don't matter, but brag about Grammys and posters. Like, bro, white people hand them awards out. Stop gasking that mascot, safe Negro. Dang, Mad Max going in.
Mad Max going in. I was at least trying to be diplomatic with it.
See, Mad Max is waiting for this moment for Kendrick. Mad Max is not a Kendrick Lamar fan at all. But again, like I said, I think it's just one of those things where some people feel like Kendrick's style is gimmicky. I never thought that. I felt like he had an artistic approach. He was very creative with his. But if you step into that arena of wanting to be the number one guy, being that creative introvert is not the space that those individuals live in. Andre 3000 was, and I mentioned Andre because Kendrick clearly is influenced by Andre. He was never the guy who was out here actively trying to be the best rapper in the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Other people said that. He never said that. He never put in the work to do that. He was creatively about something else. But Kendrick puts it out there that he wants to compete. And shit, it's never been a better time to compete because, like you said, there's this whole tape is littered with warning shots, whatever you want to call it, but bait for Kendrick to go out here and do everything that he said that he can do to MCs. Y'all listen to the Control verse. I listened to it yesterday. Everything he said in there, here's your opportunity to actually do that.
But he can't, Mike.
Now you can't go out there and just like you did Papoose and those guys who responded, just ignore it. You can't ignore this. I don't think he's going to respond, to be honest.
I don't think he can. I think it's checkmate. There's no way to go. Only thing he could do is make an album. Because what can he do? He got the Dreamville Festival this weekend. You know Drake got something loaded, ready to go.
Is Drake Drake's not on the Dream Fest.
Right? But I'm saying he might make a surprise appearance. But I'm saying if he responds, you know they got a record that's ready to push the button. Cole already said he got 2 classics already ready to go. You know Drake got something ready to go. You know they might have a joint album in the works, which I've been hearing rumblings about that they may come up with a joint album after the Fall Off drops. So, I mean, it's really nothing he can do but just take the L and move on, make some music. That's it.
He got to make an album. I mean, he has to respond. Listen, and I'm not going to say there's nothing he can do. Kendrick has to respond, and I think he has the ability to do so. But the biggest roadblock I think he has is, and this is just my personal opinion, I could be wrong, I don't think he has it anymore. I think I don't. I mean, there's no. Why would I think he does? Like, I just
the like that verse didn't get you thinking that he can do it.
Nah,
the Baby Came joint doesn't make you think he could do it.
The like that verse is cool. Like I said, I like the fact that he went out there and kind of set it off. But nah, I don't think that he can keep this going, because at some point somebody's gonna have to come out with a full diss record. And I don't think he has the ability to do that against the way Cole is rapping right now. Cole is just rapping at such a high level right now. And even though the like that verse got the internet ignited, we would be fooling ourselves to think that Kendrick on like that is like Kendrick from 2017. Now, J. Cole right now is better than J. Cole from 2017. That's the biggest difference that's going on here. One guy is going here, other guys kind of going here. And from a timing standpoint, it just ain't a good look for Kendrick right now. Mad Max with the super chat says, LOL, I used to think like Dot. I'm sorry, I used to think like Doc back in his high school, but my issue is his work aged like milk. He's a guy that you grew out of, and then get mad at yourself for liking him in the first place because you realized how bad he really is. Wow. But yeah, I mean, that's my thing. I mean, I think that if we're talking about Kendrick Lamar from 2017, sure, go respond, be at it. But there's a big gap between where they're at from a skill set standpoint right now. And there is some pretty good writing on Mr. Morale, but it's not the kind of writing that's going to combat, in a back and forth at the level that J. Cole's rapping right now. He sounds so effortless on this effort. And that's what I want to talk about too, man. Like how great he sounds on this project, how fluid he sounds. Like he sounds comfortable. He sounds like he has a whole lot of confidence. J. Cole's always, and he said it in the lyrics, so it's not me just speculating. He's always kind of put himself as the third fiddle in this big three, if you will. And I don't think he feels like that anymore. I think he feels like he's put in the work over the past few years to show that he is the best rapper in the game right now. And I think this project kind of solidified that. This project is better than his most recent effort. And it's just really evident where he is mentally. Like it's nothing. He's ready for whatever's about to come out of that other camp, the side of the other camp. But I don't think anything's gonna come, man, because I just don't think that as a writer and as an MC right now, Kendrick's there. And I could be wrong, but I was kind of right about Mr. Morale. Like when he didn't release an album after the Super Bowl or directly after the Super Bowl, I knew he was struggling. Not to mention that there was already a gap between, Damn and Mr. Morale. And then what we ended up getting, I could tell that those records were recorded pretty recently. You know what I'm saying? Like he just didn't have it. I don't think he has the records. I think he does possibly suffer from writer's block. And that's not where J. Cole is right now. So Remy with the super chat says, can we go through the bars on 7 Minute Drill now? Let me see them.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let me pull the bars up. I parsed out a few. Let me pull them up.
Okay.
So Mike, you can do the honors.
Light work. Like it's PWC. It's a cold world. Keep the heat under your seat. I got a phone call. They say that somebody dissing. You want some attention? It comes with extensions. My dog like, say the word. Only he on bullshit. He itching. Done put in so much work in these streets. He got pension. I told him chill out. How I look having a henchman.
Shots
get popping. Yeah, if shots get popping,
I'm the one doing the clinching.
Yeah, the clinching, my bad. Shots get popping, I'm the one doing the clinching.
Come on, man.
I mean, and see that was the other thing too. And I wanted to say that about the people who are saying that these disses are soft. Someone in the chat said Cole talking tough is corny. That's the thing. If he would have went all in on some rah stuff, that's what people would have said, right? I think he's just letting them know, like, I'm not the one to deal with right now, man. Like, I'm really in my bag.
Right. And I took from that bar, that section of that bar, is that he's not Drake. He's saying Drake didn't really send me to do this. I don't need no henchman. I'm doing this on Dolo. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I got from that joint, from that bar.
Well, we got some more. All right,
we got some more.
The rap beef ain't realer than the shit I seen in Cumberland. He averaging one hard verse like every 30 summers or something. If he wasn't dissing, then we wouldn't even be discussing him. Lord, don't make me have to smoke this nigga because I fuck with him. But push come to shove on this mic, I will humble him. Listen, man, like I said, this is a warning. And I know some people out there like, who is J. Cole to warn Kendrick, right? He's letting him know, like, nigga, right now, I'm doing 2-a-days, man. I'm out here rhyming at a high level, and you're not. You don't want to get on the mic with me right now. It's like, man, I remember high school. You remember what was his name, man? He was in the saxophone section. You know what I'm talking about. He was a freshman my senior year. Played basketball. Keith. Was it Keith?
Yeah, Keith. Shout out
Yeah,
to Keith.
yeah, man. Freshman year, he was small, whatever, and he ended up playing for Georgia Tech. Came back, man, like his senior year, man. This dude is like 6'5", dunking on folks and stuff. Like, yo, this is a different day now. Like, this is not Lil Keith from a couple years ago. You don't want to play me right now. And that's what J. Cole is. Like, look, dude, I know a couple years ago, people might have thought whatever on the mic, might have thought it was even close. Right now in 2024, it's not even close. I don't think that anybody in that camp or J. Cole, where he is mentally and lyrically, heard that like that verse and was scared. I doubt that very seriously. He probably was like, yo, man, you don't want to do this. And I think that's why the response came in this tone. He is daring him to jump. And that's how I took it. And I'm not trying to be blasphemous or whatever, but when I listen to Rakim's Paid in Full, I listen to that album and it sounds like an MC that's daring anybody to try him on the mic, and not even just mentioning anybody, but just saying, like, you hear how I'm rapping right now? I'm rapping on a whole nother level than the rest of the game. Don't do it. And that's the tone I hear on this effort. J. Cole sounds very comfortable and confident that if anybody jumps, Kendrick Lamar included, Kendrick Lamar especially, I would dust him. And that's what he's telling him on this 7-minute drill. Mad Max with the super chat says, Mike, how can Cole talking tough be corny when he saved Dot from Diddy? I've seen Cole get active in real life. I've seen Dot get protection. Who's really sweet? That is interesting, man. You know, you got one guy who's like 6'4", and, well, you know. But I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe people think that the whole thing, if they get to the tough talk on either end, it's corny. I don't know. People talk like they know these guys. Nicholas with the super chat says, which is better? Better album, Magic 3, or Delete Me Later? The fact that we're actually comparing the two is high marks for what Cole just did. Right now, I'm still gonna lean towards Magic 3 based on the storytelling, the range, and just being a complete effort. But I'm gonna listen to this some more. I mean, I know this is very new. I think it's too new to say anything. That it's
let it settle. Yeah, let it settle for a week or so. Let it settle for a week or two. Let it settle for a little bit.
Maybe for a month, because I've been listening to Magic 3 for a minute. But I will say this: I think everything that J. Cole was trying to hit on this effort, I think he hit, and I think he hit effortlessly.
Right.
But yeah, this is what do you think we're gonna see on the stage at Dreamville this weekend?
I don't know. I think it's gonna be some energy. I think it's gonna be he's gonna have the city, his hometown. Well, not hometown, but in his home state. So he's gonna have it. He's gonna have it lit. I mean, I think it's one of those summer jam moments. He might bring out Drake. He might bring out Drake. He might bring out Drake. That might happen. I know he's gonna do a lot of these records from the album. He's gonna do that.
What happens when he does 7-minute drill?
What you mean? What happens?
I'm saying, what is he going to do on the stage when he does 7-minute drill? Is he just going to perform it on stage? Is he going to perform it with a Kendrick picture in the back, or like is?
Nah, I think he's going to let his bar work do the talking. He don't need no props. He's going to go out there and just let him just state his claim. I mean, he don't need all that. He home. He in his home state. He don't need no props.
Well, I mean, listen, Jay didn't necessarily need to put up the Prodigy picture at Summer Jam, but it made it the memorable moment. And I do think that, and I don't really count, well, I guess that is technically props, but this is entertainment. This is war at this point, a war for that number one spot, because that's pretty much what this is. These guys are fighting for placement right now and all-time legacies. And I think any little thing that you can actually add to the fire, it helps. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he went out there and performed it, yeah, you can say he performed it. But if he actually, performed it with Kendrick's picture in the back or whatever, I think that makes it a memorable moment. I'm just saying.
I think he'll bring out Drake. He'll bring out Drake to do first person shooter. Then they'll go in 7-minute drill. And that'll be the highlight. That'll be the buzz of the whole weekend. I think that's gonna happen.
Well,
and Drake might jump on something, might shoot some shots in his direction. A little freestyle or something that might happen this weekend.
Yeah, I think he definitely has to go on stage and perform some of these records. I don't think this project came out days before Dreamville Fest for no reason. I don't think that he put this out without any plans to perform a lot of the songs on here. I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to forge forward who he is in this conversation. And really, to me, regardless of how people feel about, I guess the first two offerings, and I mean like that and 7-minute drill, I think that J. Cole's the one in pole position right now. Because again, he has a whole project on the side at this point, and he has a whole festival in his home state and in his name that is coming up right after it. And he also has an album that people are anticipating on top of that. So now Kendrick's going to have to pull a rabbit out the hat. And I think Kendrick's being forced to put out a full effort. I don't think that one song's going to do it even if Kendrick comes with a response diss record. I don't think one song is going to do it. And we already know that Kendrick doesn't really collaborate with anybody outside of Baby Keem at this point. So whose feature is he going to jump on and diss somebody again? I mean, that he already played his card on that with the Future record. So now he's being forced to not only respond with a full diss record, but respond with a full album. And just based on what we've seen over the past 7-8 years, I don't trust the fact that Kendrick's going to come with a full album like that. And I don't even really trust the fact that he's going to come with a diss record because we never heard it. Matt Max with the super chat says, and he had Daylight and Solo on there too. Yeah, man. I love the fact that he had Ab-Soul and Daylight on there, man. Them niggas is killing it. We get LeRoy Green in here because he.
Yeah. Before we get LeRoy Green on, what's your thoughts on the album? Because the people had a lot of things to say. We're gonna get LeRoy Green in here to kind of touch on that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think the album's dope. And right now, I'm gonna listen to it a few more times. It can get some consideration for album of the year for sure.
I'm gonna put the track listing up real quick. I'm gonna go one by one.
Yeah, go one by one.
One by
By the way, side note, I didn't like the fact that Chris Brown was removed from Dream Fest. I need more information on why that happened.
Did he say something about it?
I haven't seen it. Maybe I missed that, but I know a lot of the fans, and I was talking to some people who were going to Dreamville. Chris Brown is a once in a lifetime performer, and a lot of people really wanted to go see Chris Brown perform. And there's nobody really to replace Chris Brown on stage unless you're trying to replace him with an Usher or something like that. And even that, and no disrespect to Usher, but Usher's in his 40s and Chris Brown's in his super prime. So for people who bought those tickets to go see Chris Brown, I think they're owed way more of an explanation. And no disrespect to 50. I love 50. They're two totally different performers. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not even on the same plane or even whatever you're looking for as an entertainer. So I didn't like the move of Chris Brown being removed from Dreamville Festival. And without saying anything about it, it leads all of us to assume that it has something to do with something he did when he was a teenager. That's all I'm saying. I don't like it at all. We got to stop this with Chris.
Yo, real quick, we got some news. Mike, you were telling me about this the other day. Somebody in our chat said, did you hear that Mahbod died? I didn't hear that.
I haven't gotten
official confirmation. Is that official?
I don't know, man. I haven't seen anything, man. I hope that's not true. Because if it is, then I did his last interview. And for the people who don't know, Mahbod is the founder of Rap Genius, which is now Genius. And, we go back because, when I started recording hip hop and you know, and they were starting Rap Genius. One of the guys that was working with us, Ron, Phil Wiggins, he actually connected us to those guys early, and Phil did an interview with them, and we've just kind of kept close contact over the years. And even when he got bounced out of Rap Genius and whatnot, we still kept in contact. Anyway, long story short, you know, we reconnected maybe last year and a half ago, and he jumped on the platform and did an interview with me. And yeah, I heard the news. Well, I didn't really hear the news, but I saw on Twitter that people were saying RIP to him. I didn't have any information, so I didn't want to really put that out there until it was reported by major outlets. But for people who have heard that, what happened? I mean, and how do you know this?
Yeah, let's get some confirmation. Let's get some confirmation. We don't know what the deal is, but let's bring LeRoy Green in real quick. And
let me say, can we finish breaking? Can we finish that 7MD breakdown?
Let's do that. Let's okay. LeRoy in the building
on a Saturday, man. He stayed in the field.
So sometimes you got to fight for what you believe in. Cole had to go for it. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you very well, man. How we doing today?
I'm doing excellent, brother. How are you?
Good. You got the purple tape hoodie on. I see you, Playboy.
Yeah. Because we gonna talk about dart throwing. You know, Raekwon, he throw a dart at you. He ain't trying to kill you. He trying to graze you. And J. Cole throwing darts. We gonna talk about the art of dart throwing. Let's do it.
Okay, so all right, where are you at on all this? Let's just start there.
Sometimes, hey, I'm here to motivate the people. Everybody gotta fight for what you believe in. Let's get into it. All right, believe in yourself. Jump in the ring and get into it. And that's what's going on. K-Dot set it off. J. Cole came back, right? But we're gonna get into it. It's like first, and we're talking about. Well, first, J. Cole, he must have heard the Rock Marciano, and he was like, let me get the golden crossbow. You know what I mean? Let me get the gold crossbow, you know? And shout out to Rock. You know I said your album was an album of the year, but trust me, brother, when the publications fell off, my pen was at work in this hip-hop game. My reviews have been out there I've been here. People just never see my face, but I've been here. So drop that metal, Clergy, and I'm sure you'll get a nod for album of the year. Now let's talk about.
I want you to break down 7-minute drill, man, because that's what people are here for.
Okay.
Break down that 7-minute drill.
Now y'all got into some of the bars already, right? So we're gonna talk about surface level and under the surface level, and we're gonna talk about stepping into mythos, stepping into somebody's shoes that are great that came before you. What J. Cole did was set up the dynamic of takeover where he's breaking down albums, right? So he stepped into the mythos of Jay versus Nas, elevating both J. Cole and Kendrick to that level, to this era. That's the power of words, and when you use them in a way, you know what I mean? So, but I don't think J. Cole wants to go the album comparison. Because in my view, I'm too loud. I'm too loud. Still here. Okay, I know you don't like me still here, but let me turn it down, or somebody turn it down. Now, you know what I mean. Peace to my Christian brothers and sisters out there. Now, so he stepped into that a Jay and Nas type of dynamic. But however, I don't think Good Kid, Mad City is Kendrick's debut. I think Section 80 is his debut. And let's get into is Cole's first 3 albums up against Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly? Is that what he thinks his first 3 is like?
Let me stop you there. If we get into that, then some people could say, well, Overly Dedicated is his first effort. And see, era was the first era to kind of mix up the whole mixtape thing and the album thing, where people weren't sure what was what. Now, from an industry standpoint, I could see where J. Cole's coming from, because he was there, right? He was signed just like Kendrick was, just like Drake was, and they all had similar rollouts, and they were marketing Mad City as his debut album at the time. They actually were saying that Section 80 was a mixtape. I remember when Melvin sent me, my man Melvin sent me Section 80. It was being called a mixtape, and now they call Section 80 an album. They changed the narrative after the fact. Now, granted, and I was telling Ron this a couple of minutes ago, I believe anything with original music and original work is an album, and we'll just call it a project. But
what did it feel like?
Where Cole was coming from was the fact that this was being billed as a debut. And like you said, he stepped into the Jay-Z ethos on Takeover and wanted to use Mad City as the debut because that's what it was being called when it came out. So I do agree with what you're saying there. But to that point, and this is where I wanted to get to, I think we all know, Cole knows himself, Kendrick's made better albums than him. But the fact that he's taking that argument now lets me think that he has the confidence that he'll make better albums than Kendrick now. That's where I think it's very gutsy for him to even take on that argument, because he's willing to back it up, because I think he feels like he can make better albums than Kendrick right now as we speak.
I would love to see it. I would love if Cole believes that's what he's capable. If he believes he is capable of a Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and not just the lyrical aspect, because we know you got lyrics, J. Cole. Come on now, we know you got lyrics, brother. But if you think you could step up to the plate and kind of a socio-political element to an album, and you got the brothers standing in front of the White House, you know what I mean? You got the anthem for Black Lives Matter at a time where the world is collapsing in on the people, and you got a shield in front of them musically. If you feel you could step up to that plate, then I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
Well, you know, I would be remiss if I didn't say this.
I like that. Mike, let me
the Pimp a Butterfly cover. You see that recently? Like at first they had Obama, I guess, or an image of something that looked like Obama at the front of the White House. But when they celebrated the 10th anniversary of the album, or not 10th, or whatever anniversary it was of the album, they had a George Bush looking type character out there. They switched it up a little bit.
Yeah, but his head was on the floor, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And brothers was like stepping over his head. Brothers
after he went and met Obama, you remember that little that photo op where he dapped out Obama, and Obama said that he got Kendrick over Drake.
Crazy. Hey, we got super duper in the building. What's going on, brother?
What's happening, fellas? What's happening?
Yo, man, I want to hear your perspective on this, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Good. I don't know why everybody gassing this up, man. I can't lie. I was not impressed. I thought it was kind of boring. I thought Kendrick's still up.
Okay, explain.
I mean, he just didn't say nothing major really in there. He gassing his own self up. None of his albums is better than anything that Kendrick did. That last album, I mean, it's better. The last album, or the album he just dropped the other day, is better than Mr. Morale. But it still ain't better than nothing else that he dropped.
Well, how long are we going to be able to live in the past when it comes to what Kendrick has done, album-wise? Like, if Cole says, you know what, I want to step into the current, his albums were better than mine, from 2010 up to 2017. But let's talk about now. Is that a fair place to put it?
Yeah, that's fine. But even now, right? Did you listen to the album? Where would you rank this album? How great is this album to you that J. Cole just dropped?
In comparison to Kendrick's effort?
Yeah, to anything that Kendrick dropped. Where would you land it at right now? I know it's fresh and it's new, and you got to let it grow on you a little bit more. But off first hand listen, I'm not that impressed with the album, and I'm not extremely of a fan of neither one of them. So,
LeRoy, what's your response to Super Duper on that one?
I see where the brother's coming from, because we don't like big steppers, and that's fine, because you don't have to like everything. Some things aren't for you. Now, is this and this ain't the J. Cole album. This is the a mixtape or whatever you want to call it, or just the first offering, right? 12 songs, right? But if you want to step into K-Dot's lane like that, then just like you're saying Kendrick has to go harder, J. Cole got to go harder. And we're not talking lyrical miracle harder. We talking, does your music have a socio-political effect on the people the same way Kenny's does? And if you can do that, then I'm with you, Cole. But that's an element that I've never seen come from you. And I can still like you as a fan because I don't need that to come from you. But that's the world that K-Dots exists in. When he raps, the ghetto hears it. And they hear it different. They hear it different from maybe, so if you could step into that, I'm with you, brother. And I'm sure you can. But I just
Cole got the nerve. J. Cole got the nerve to try to diss him about albums, but he got 5 in 13 years or something like that. Like everything that he said about Kendrick, it could have been said about himself, honestly. Like it almost felt like he was dissing his own self. And then he was bigging him up.
Come on, brother.
He bigging him up, talking about how he love him and all that. At the same time, dropping all these little soft little love tap lyrics. Like I'm not impressed. Like I'm just not impressed.
Wait on, let's give Cole some credit. He was cap peeling and also cap peeling. So it's, you see what I'm saying? He knows what he's doing. He's cap peeling and he's cap peeling. So he's removing the outer layers of your cap. You know what I'm saying? But these are the tricks that we play when we throw darts. You know, when we real MCs, we hear it. We heard the dart. You know what I mean? But again, K-Dot's nothing to play with either, though. And just because
all the way in is what everybody is waiting to hear. Because you're right, a lot of this stuff that we're hearing as MCs and as real hip hop nerds, if you will, and it's like, yeah, it's very intricate. The sneak dissing time is over, like I said before, and somebody's got to jump all the way in there and do a straight up ether, hit him up, take over.
I believe J. Cole think he just did, really. He said he calling it a light tap, but really he just said everything that he could possibly say, really.
You think so?
What else can he really say? Like what else can he really say about the man? I'm sure he ain't got no real dirt on him. What else can he say? He called his albums whack. He said that Mr. Morale was whack. He did like everything. I think that J. Cole thought that he had. I thought he hit a haymaker. He felt like he did the best he could. He calling it a light tap because he know it was weak. But
so you feel like if this stopped right now and Kendrick never responded, you think that Kendrick wins?
I mean, I think it's if that will happen, then it's just. Listen, you got to break. To me, if Kendrick would have wasted a whole song at going at him, Tupac Tupac dissed the whole squad. Nas went after the whole squad. Kendrick went at both of them. So if he just decided to dedicate a song to J. Cole, like J. Cole just dedicated a song to him, Kendrick about to watch this man really, because that diss was what he. It wasn't even as exciting as like that, or not like that, but whatever that song is called with Kendrick and
like
Future. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says we talk about Kendrick taking 5 years off, but Cole's last album was 2018. Yeah, he's done features, but not an album. Oh no, he dropped in 2021. Actually, yeah, he dropped the offseason in 2021. The offseason was cool. I think it was underwhelming for a lot of people though.
5 albums in 13 years or whatever, too. I mean, like I said, it just didn't. I'm not feeling a diss like that. I thought it's one of the worst disses of all time, in my opinion.
Man, back to the super chat says, "Yo, LeRoy, my mom," he said, "My man's, but never have I ever heard Dot in the Ghetto." And Cole has 6 or 7 albums and like 5 mixtapes.
Understood.
I mean, it sounds like to me that Cole is ready to go out there and make the great albums. That's kind of what excites me about how he's talking. I don't think I've ever heard Cole rap this level of confidence. Like he's always been dope, but I think right now he understands that he is the guy. And I don't know what kind of got him over that edge, but I like it. You know what I'm saying? Like he sounds like Jay in 01, and not saying like he sounds like Jay in 01, but the confidence,
2 points, one positive, one that could be negative, but it's not negative. But so here we go. K Dot prompted the response from Cole. So first, let's put some respect on K Dot because he baited or attacked first. So then Cole respond. Now this is hard to everybody, and I do like it as well, but you know, we have to figure out how we can send shots at each other if we're actually not beefing, right? Now there is a lot of gun bars in here, you know what I mean, and that makes up the majority of the song. I don't know, you know, when you frame it, the diss around those gun bars, it sounds great to everyone else. They think that's the hardest bars. To the dart throwers, and we know that was easy. We know we know the gun bars was easy. You know what I mean? So you built about 80% of your song around that. About it was 2 songs that you put together to send at K Dot. It was actually 2
And it
songs.
was out of character.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now let's talk now. And I'm gonna bring up a side note. We talked about Ransom. I follow Ransom. Ransom and amongst and many great other MCs have been trying to figure out how to battle each other without it turning personal. And not just him, but a lot of the elite MCs don't know how. They don't know how we can make battling competitive on audio when you can't, because the reason why they don't know how they could do it is because the audience thinks it's a real problem. So they don't know how. So it's a lot of MCs that want to compete right now, the elite ones, but they just don't know how the audience is going to take it because the audience doesn't know the difference between real problem and competition. So when you throw in a lot of gun bars, love them, my brother, but we're listening for certain techniques. I mentioned the cat pill and I heard that, but you know, a lot of under the seed and the Stone Temple Pilots. Mob, we throw pebbles at your dome. We the Stone Temple Pilots. Beautiful, right? But these are the type of now Kendrick can play them games too. You know what I mean? So I give respect to both of them, right? But we're not going to act like gun bars just wins everything, because we can go a little bit deeper than that. We can go further into something that's more competitive, so MCs know that okay, now we can battle and it can be taken as competition.
Okay, so you were disappointed in J. Cole's approach because of, you know, the content of it and the gun bars coming in a situation where they didn't have to.
More so about it being 2 songs put together. You know what I mean? Well, I know you sat on this for a while. It's been 2 weeks. You probably did the first half the first week and probably did the second half the second week. I don't know. Maybe you did them all in 2 hours. I don't know. But K, he can play them games too. K,
I mean, he even knew it was corny because even in the line, he like, what I look like having a henchman. Like, you know, he knew it. He was. This was really like it was totally corny to me. I swear I'm not lying. It's really corny, like this. And he could have came better, harder, at least more personal, and more reality. So when Kendrick come back at him, Kendrick's so creative, and he can play with his flow a little bit like more creatively and more entertaining than J. Cole can. So Kendrick gonna come back. It's probably gonna be funny. It's gonna be like, you know, it's gonna be a lot of things that he gonna be able to work with that J. Cole just can't do. You know what I'm saying?
And I hear what you're saying. I just don't have a lot of faith in where Kendrick is right now as an MC. I mean, as far as that, and when I'm listening to, and I guess I'm listening to both MCs and listening to where they're at from a lyrical level and just from a you know, just being on track and how comfortable they are right now. And I have more confidence in J. Cole as an MC in 2024 than I do and Kendrick as an MC in 2024. And yeah, I agree with some of those things that you guys said could have been handled a different way lyrically, but just overall, J. Cole just sounds like the much better MC to me right now. And now Kendrick can surprise me and, you know, prove me wrong, but I don't have much faith in Kendrick making an adequate comeback.
I think Kendrick been more or less experimenting with stuff and it's going bad. So like he kind of
trash, man.
Yeah, he experimenting with a lot of this stuff. So once you get back to the traditional and understand that we don't want to hear half of that stuff you're doing, like that hillbilly stuff, you know, the Mr. Morales. Once you get back on track, and
Well, that's
especially
what
with
I
something.
liked about the Like That verse, though. It sounded like he was actually rapping. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he kind of was trying to get back on some rap shit. And I guess that's the term I'll use, man. I just don't feel like Kendrick's been on some rap shit for a very long time. And J. Cole's been on some rap shit for the past. I mean, well, I won't say there was a time when he wasn't, but he's been on the rap shit heavy for the past few years. From his features, from you know what I'm saying, isolated songs here and there. And the deciding factor for me too is the fact that whenever those two guys showed up on the track together on the Jeezy record, Kendrick chose to sing. So I don't know, man. There's no evidence right now other than things from 10 years back that would prove to me that, you know, Kendrick should be the leading individual in this matchup. Kendrick's just gonna have to prove that. Mad Max with the super chat says it's not out of character. Cole has mad gun bars throughout his career. You using his image as a fact. Cole is a gun bar rapper. He just masquerades it.
If Cole is a gun bar rapper, I thank you for putting me up on that. I didn't know that. So if that's what he is, then maybe I got to go back and do my homework on his albums to catch the gun bars. But
Mad Max with the super chat again. My bad. He says, "How is Doc creative when he just copies people? He's a black Eminem who steals from Lupe, Nicki, Andre, Future. He's never been creative." Wow.
I mean, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue that fact or not, because I'm not really a fan of neither one of these guys like that. Like they both, you know, I'm just being honest. Like they cool. Kendrick is all right. J. Cole is all right, but I'm not really a big fan of neither one of their music, like in a major way. Or you know, so maybe I'm out of order for even really speaking on it because I didn't expect much from Cole anyway, and I really don't expect much from Kendrick really anyway either. But you know, like I respect them.
Can I get? Let me not to cut you, my brother. I hear you, and those are good points. You definitely made excellent points. Let me give both J. Cole and both of them props. When Kendrick was coming off the street, he did a lot of rapping because he had to rap his way into that cosign to Dre. It wasn't just given to him. So overly dedicated, and there was a lot of freestyles going on, and he did a lot of rapping. Cole also was doing a lot of rapping to get into the position that he was in. Once Cole got into position, Cole went a different route. He started making radio songs. And I respect that. Why did he make radio songs? Because he had to live, right? He had to live. I respect that. K Dot, he went in a different bag too, but he started getting political and he started getting substantive and content driven. And concept driven. So he went away from bars of just bars for the sake of bars. He went away from high power and started getting into swimming pools, right? High power is to let you know I'm the lyrical guy. Rigor mortis.
Produced by J. Cole, by the way. Produced by J. Cole, by the way.
Okay. Great. Swimming pools is to let you know I'm lyrical, but I'm here to save lives, right? So his music followed down that trajectory to which his content in his music is built in to save people's life. Now, Cole has that as well, but Cole's content, in my view, was more softer to the commercial audience, right? And K Dot is there now. It was more softer to the commercial audience because he had to sell records, and I respect that. So now Cole is back and he's getting into his lyrical bag. Respect it. I love it because we know you could do that. But K Dot has done that too. It's just that we wasn't paying attention to K Dot doing that before he really got famous. But before he got famous, he was in a lyrical bag.
I got on a little late. Did y'all review the album?
We actually we talked about the album. We didn't do just like a pound for pound review.
I mean, what I mean, just right now off the first listen, what would you say? Like, what do you think about the album?
I like it. I think that he hit all his marks. I think that he hit every mark that he was attempting to hit. He made radio records. He made records that, you know, show his versatility. He was all over the spectrum as far as what we're looking for in a complete effort from J. Cole. Everything that people say that he was missing, I think he kind of fulfilled on this tape. I liked it. I think it's a really, really dope warm up for an album that he has coming. And I hear a lot of promise in the upcoming album based on what I'm hearing here.
Yeah,
He
if you break it
sounds
down,
great.
Pricey was dope. Dope record. Crocodile Tears, he's dropping subliminals on that. Or direct shots, that's dope. Ready 24 with Cameron is dope.
Yep.
Hunting for Wabbits, more bars, more direct shots to Kendrick, dope. HYB was all right. You know, Central C got off on it. You know what I'm saying?
I like this verse on HYB.
HYB was dope, you know what I'm saying? But it was okay. You know what I'm saying? It got that kind of like that London drill type sound that he can do as well. It's another lane that Cole could get into that others can't. Versatility. Fever was a Drake kind of influence record for the ladies for the summer. That's a dope record. Sticks and Stones, another straight shot to Kendrick. Dope. Pie, people saying that's the best with Absol. And Daylight's the best record on the album. Straight bodied them on that joint. You got Stealth Mode. 3001 was all right. Traded Truth and the Beast was one of my favorite joints on the album. Mm-hmm. And then you got 7 Minute Drill. And I like the beat switch with Conductor Williams at the end. So, I mean, the album is solid, super duper. I mean, it's a good
I think it's better than the off season, personally. Like, I think easily better than the off season.
Hey, calm down, Mike. Calm down.
I do. I feel like this with the off season. Like, I mean, I liked a couple songs on off season, but I like this album better.
Off season was strong. Shout out to Cole for the off season. Off season was strong. I do like the Absol. Shout out to Absol. I do like that verse. You know, the pie. You know, the mathematic pie and the papyrus rhyme. You know what I mean? With elaborate design. I like that. You know what I mean?
I really wasn't impressed with the album. I couldn't. I mean, I didn't go back and really listen to it again. But I've been bumping that Rock Marcy. So, I mean, it's hard for me to. He just don't say enough. Maybe I'm just not a fan. I'm gonna keep it real. Maybe I'm just not a fan. He's not entertaining enough for me. He kind of plain Jane to me, and he don't really say enough. Like we was going back to in a couple of shows ago where I was talking about saying stuff that wow you, and maybe it's just his delivery and the way that he can rap. I won't take nothing away from him.
Approach.
He is real traditional, and it's so plain Jane. Like, it's so plain Jane to me that it's just like it's not entertaining enough. So he's not doing enough, really.
I'm sure he got you on the album, though. This is just like he warming up, right? He warming up. I'm sure he got you on the album. I feel you though, because a lot of J. Cole's albums I haven't gone back to. The off season was the one that grabbed me, but how many albums did he have before that though? It's like he had a lot of albums, you know what I mean? So it's like, maybe they're not for me, you know what I mean?
Well, I love the fact that we got all different type of viewpoints here when it comes to these two individual artists, and we're gonna have to see how this progresses forward. But it's just like any other competitive sport. When someone is actually in a zone in that moment, which I feel Cole's in a zone right now, I'm going to take that person over the person who just hasn't been consistent in years. Now, like I said, if we're talking about Kendrick from 2016, 17 or whatever, for sure. But right now, to me, it's no question who the best rapper in the game is.
Mike,
and I was a person who got on this microphone and had Kendrick over Cole hands down. Like,
Kendrick was just outside, Mike. Kendrick was just outside.
He's not outside enough.
He was just outside. What are we talking about?
It's not definitive, man. Oh, DJ Bruce Almighty says, correction, LeRoy. Cole was making radio songs because the label asked him to.
Well, would you go into a label and not make radio songs?
Well, I mean, listen, this is the thing.
Would you do that to yourself?
Well, this is the thing, man. People got to understand, when you sign to a major record,
you signed a label.
You signed to, all right, this is the process. An artist goes into a major record label situation. They want that major label's money. The major label wants to make their money back.
There you go.
Label make their money back on hit records.
There you go.
Artistic albums and this and that. You're gonna have to meet somebody in the middle. If you sign that deal, be prepared that they're gonna ask you to make something to make their money back. That's just what it is.
Just what it is, you know.
That's just the give and take there. If you don't want to do those things, then don't sign the deal.
Exactly.
Go out there and make independent efforts, and you know what I'm saying, and reach your audience like Currency does, which I think is admirable. And I love the fact that people like Currency have shown that you can make a career out of actually just having a real fan base and a consistent fan base and making the music that you want to make.
Right.
Putting in the work.
Yeah.
Right. Mike, what's the poll saying right now? What's the poll looking like?
We got 436 votes, and it's 64% J. Cole, 36% Kendrick.
Checkmate, like I said.
Right now.
Checkmate, like I said, people agree.
And I think that the reason why people are saying that again is, in my personal opinion, is because of how Cole is rapping right now. Now, not saying that Kendrick can't get that back, but he's gonna have to put in some work to get that back. We can't just sit here and go on the work that he did, 7, 8, 9 years ago to give him props for today. I think when Billboard put him as number 2 all time over Nas, over Tupac, over, Rakim, whatever you want to say, they put a target on his back. And they really did him a disservice, especially at this point. If they would do that, they should have did that when he made one of his best efforts.
It was definitely disrespectful to a lot of people in the game to put him number 2 like that. That was disrespectful.
Yeah, they put a target on his back though, because people knew that he didn't deserve that spot. Really, they probably wanted to put Eminem there, but they didn't want to put a target on Eminem's back.
He don't deserve. Now, I'm not putting anybody in any spots for a publication, but he don't deserve what he got. It's like Kendrick, again, you may not like it. If you see K-Dot in some cowboy boots, you may be like, I hate this dude. But just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that there's somebody out there that does understand it. It's just like Beyonce when they're in her cowboy boots right now. You don't understand that, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Kendrick is a performance artist. His music has many layers to it. So you may not like all them layers. You just want bars. You just want the darts. You want the darts, right? So, but
I mean, honestly, historically, let's keep it real. Our best lyricists, my bad, LeRoy, not to cut you off, but historically, our best lyricists, with the exception of Nas and Jay, they weren't always the ones that gave you the most entertaining diss records. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people who gave you the most entertaining diss records were the people who just went straight forward, who were straightforward type of MCs, like Ice Cube, you know what I'm saying? DJ Quick, Tupac, you know what I mean? Even when Corrupt did Calling Out Names, like these are entertaining diss records. And sometimes the super lyrical guys, and I know Corrupt super lyrical, but sometimes the guys who are more introspective lyricists, if you will, they overthink diss records. That's why people were so shocked when Common came with the Bitchin' You against Ice Cube. That was shocking.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even with Common, Common's rhymes are some of the hardest rhymes, right? But they're delivered in a way that's not hard. But if you did the knowledge behind the bars, you would realize they are hard. But he's not throwing an uppercut or a hook. He's throwing a foundational jab, right? With
foundational jab. I love
foundational jab, right? His bars, from you take a sentence from Common's bars, the beginning of the sentence leads up to the last part of the sentence, and they play off each other, and that last part of the sentence hits you. Bow. But it's a conscious bar, right? So it's not meant to be hard. So that's where Kendrick is at. He's not meant to be the hardest guy. Now I know he started this off at being hard, you know what I mean? At like pause at being like, rah, come at me. But that's the energy. I respect that, because now we get to have the conversation of, can we battle each other and make it about competition just off the bars without making it about everything else? You know what I mean?
I think that Kendrick,
The Game, 50 Cent, Cameron, or Kendrick and Cole. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those guys are entertaining. To me, Cameron and 50 Cent's back and forth might have been one of the most entertaining diss back and forths ever. Jim Jones. I want to hear diss records from Jim Jones. That's entertaining stuff there. You know what I mean? But no one's going to say that Jim Jones is, on Kendrick's level lyric.
These people have real problems with each other. That everyone's that people are comparing this battle, they have a real problem in the street.
That's what I was about to say too.
Right.
Cole, when they see each other, it's love. What up, my brother? What up? Hey, man, I see you out there. Do your thing. It's love. It's not, so their battle is different. They're trying to pick apart each other's lyrically without it being real like that. And I love that. Because that's where I think hip hop needs to go. And if that, I love that.
I think when Kendrick come back though, he's gonna go after both of them.
He should.
He gonna go.
One that's in position right now to come with the hit him up, come with the ether. He's actually in position to come with ether right now.
Yeah,
but they need to take advantage of this Dreamville stage this weekend.
Cole and Kendrick are playing. Cole is playing the Jay-Z side, and Kendrick is playing the Nas side. If the dynamic, especially with the wordplay. Cole went to the classic takeover breakdown of someone's album history. Now, in my own opinion, I think Kendrick got the albums that mean more to the people.
We all know that.
Mike, hit him with the super chats real quick. We got somebody else joining the line.
Okay, Tater Talk to the super chat says Kendrick stole. All right, he said Kendrick stole the concept for face morphing from Nipsey/Kobe's video from a white YouTube rapper. Kendrick's black. Kendrick's block. Excuse me. Don't listen to him. They listen to Nipsey. Kendrick's block. Don't listen to him. They listen to Nipsey. Anthony with the super chat says Cole versus Kendrick seems WWF is. Uncle Fram in the building. Shout out to Uncle Fram. He says, "Yo, LeRoy, to pimp a butterfly, to pimp a caterpillar. Don't even ask me how cold world."
Yo, we got some new folks in the super chat. We got John Nori and Mad Max is in the building. What up, brothers?
Oh, we got Mad Max in here with the kufi on.
Yo,
y'all can hear me?
Well, what's on your mind? What's going on?
Mad Max.
Go ahead, Max.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, all right. Let me just say, this is the worst back and forth of all time. This is whack.
It is.
They're whack. But I'll give Cole this. He shot at him. It was all right. It was cool. I like the pie joint better, but I'm not here for sweet and sour chicken wraps, man. I need like real shit. I need real shit, bro. These niggas are not. but I'll say this too. The issue with like Kendrick and J. Cole is J. Cole has always been properly rated. He's been slightly overrated, but it's been like kind of like not too much. Kendrick's been so overrated, people are just done with him. I remember when To Pimp a Butterfly came out. Nobody was jacking that album.
Exactly.
Nobody was jacking that album. You was not hearing that nowhere. I saw a girl, the Scotty Bean joint on Twitter, talking about y'all wasn't outside when All Right was out. I was like, bro, nobody was playing All Right. We was out here listening to DS2, and this is too late. We was not playing that. What are you talking about?
I got to push back a little bit, Mad Max, and I don't totally disagree with you. A lot of your points I do agree with, but I think when All Right came out, I think us as a people around the country were staring down across a line of police in riot gear with dogs and pepper spray, and we're going to be all right was the motivation for us to stand out there and get hit with that tear gas, to get hit by them police batons, and to get chased by them police dogs.
I got something to say about that.
If you're gonna be real,
that's facts, though.
If you're gonna be real,
you need some volume, Mad Max. We'll get your volume up a little bit. I do want to say this. While you're working on the volume, Mad Max.
And that was the Black Lives Matter thing.
I was going to say, this is all right. To Pimp a Butterfly. Let's put this in perspective, guys. To Pimp a Butterfly came out in 2015, not 17, right? Yes. All Right was out there already. You know what I'm saying? Like To Pimp a Butterfly been out. People use that 3-4 4 years later. When the song came out, niggas wasn't playing it like that. Now, I was playing it. I know the song word for word. I could spit it bar for bar right now. So as somebody who loved the record, you know, pointing up them in my Chevy, tell them all to come and get
please
the
don't.
everything.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear from you. I don't even hear from Kendrick. Please don't do it.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway, people weren't bumping that joint when it came out. It was when it was convenient to use in these uprisings and all of that, which is admirable. But it's a difference when it's convenient for the time and place when it happens, as opposed to it bumping right when it came out. It didn't happen like that.
Right, John Norris. John Norris on the line too. What you got? John Norris? What you got to say, brother? I know you just joined the conversation as well.
Hey, I think this whole battle is perfect for hip hop right now. But these two artists, they're in a dangerous position. Cole, he's been putting a lot of work in, trying to build his name up, build his brand up, and I feel like he's in a great position right now to take that #1 spot. However, to be the king, you got to beat the king, and you put Kendrick Lamar back on the wall, and you don't know what's coming back on the other side, man. He opened it up because he came with such a soft diss that wasn't really aggressive like that. That really didn't show his teeth like that. He came with some nice jabs here and there. Some of it is, arguable cap. Some of it is, like white people ain't done nothing for me line. That's a bar. That's something that you can lean into more if you need a second response. But I feel like the fact that you put Kendrick back against the wall, he's coming back with something. And it's not going to be just bars. I know you guys want to just keep it to bars. It's not going to be just bars. He's going to character assassinate J. Cole. He's going to come with energy. He's going to come with aggression. He might drop some Cole Day on this dude. The way I setting it up, we got Drake and Cole on the same team now, especially if Drake comes out during the weekend for the Dreamville Festival. It's going to set all types of optics for him to do the David against Goliath type of moment. And that's the moments that Kendrick looks for. Now,
who's Willie David and who's Goliath in this situation?
Well, the fans, right, they're building up Kendrick to be the David because right now, so many of the newer fans of hip hop are trying to revisit his history and Kendrick's whole catalog, like saying To Pimp a Butterfly was mid, as if he didn't do the lead single on the Super Bowl. We watched that song connect on a Super Bowl stage. That song sat next to In the Club, Doggy Style. Eminem's shit. That song sat next to those classic records on a Super Bowl stage. Got the whole stadium hype for that. It's gonna be all right. The whole stadium sung that song. Y'all can't revisionist history the man's catalog like he don't have it. He got the catalog. So
I agree with Cole though when he said that album was mid though. That album
wasn't mid. It wasn't mid.
The fans gassed that album up. That people go back and listen to that album right now. It's not like that.
It is like that. People are gonna remember Black of the Berry. People are gonna remember Mortal Man. People are gonna remember It's All Right. People are gonna remember that before they think about God Is the Devil or whatever he got on Off Season or any of these features. People are gonna remember that. People are gonna remember J. Cole's moment of he came back strong. That's what they remember. Nobody's gonna take these songs though.
Second. Not to cut you off, but I do. Speaking of Black of the Berry, I was in Fort Lauderdale listening to like Sirius Radio when I first heard Black of the Berry, and I remember hearing that record, and I was like, "Yo, this new album he's about to drop is about to be crazy." And it's like you can hear those things, like the intensity that somebody is coming with, what's about to come, and I hear that with Cole right now. And I guess all I'm saying, this whole show and this whole diatribe is the fact that I haven't heard that in Kendrick recent enough to feel confident enough that he's going to be able to really take on this guy. I do think, too, when y'all say what else can he say about Kendrick, there's a lot of biblical contradictions in Kendrick's music, and I think Cole can actually delve into some of those things, too, because what you guys are saying, and I agree with you, the strength of what Kendrick has as an artist is his introspective nature. And if you can take shots at that and kind of peel away at some of the contradictories in that, I think that does a lot.
No, Mike, hold on, Mike. Hold on.
He definitely come off as false prophet-y.
False property. I like that word.
False. I'm a lightly go there because I've learned to stay away from that, right? I'm a lightly go there and not tell people what to think. I'm just going to tell people that books will lead you where you need to go. Now, Kendrick, he can jump all over the place religiously, just like Nas can jump all over the place religiously. Nas can speak on any religion he wants, and K Dot can do the same, and they may contradict. But what they both know is the source of all these religions lead back to one group of people. So if he wants to go there, he knows he's right somewhere as long as he's within that group of people. And if all the religions they can't the reason why our words and sound, I'm talking about rappers. The reason why our words and sound capture a time capsule and hold people's hearts and souls is because our words on the walls did the same thing when we carved them in stone. Now we're carving the words and sound. You know what I mean? But that's all I'm gonna say.
Well, Mad Max, I know we kind of got away from you, and I want to kind of introduce you to the audience that's actually in here that might not be familiar with you. Mad Max was one of our younger listeners from up top, and the fact that you feel this way about Kendrick and the dynamic with Cole, I would like to get into a little bit of that. Like you feel like Kendrick stuff didn't age well, and tell the people how old you are.
I'm 28, so um, I'm 28, born in '96. So Cole, Kendrick, they all came out around relatively the same time. I heard Cole first. I was like, all right. The first time I heard from Cole was actually who that? I saw him on TV. And I wasn't paying attention, but I turned back and I was like, who the hell's the little Dykeman kid, little Dominican from Dykeman looking kid rapping? It was like J. Cole. I'm like, all right, he cool. I wasn't impressed too crazy, but I was like, he's cool. Kendrick, I got put on to Kendrick like a year, maybe a year and a half later when ASAP Rocky came out and then that other guy, what's his all gold everything. I forgot his name.
Trinidad James.
Trinidad James. One of my mans put me on the same day. He played Peso, he played Rigor Mortis, and he played the all gold everything. Rigor Mortis I liked it at the time, but it was the least record I liked. Peso was my joint. So my view from Kendrick is from a more New York view. It's more of a I heard J. Cole. He has a certain type of fan base, a cult following. So I heard him. I heard Meek. I heard Wale. I heard all these guys. Kendrick was the guy I really never heard until the rigor mortis, and he really didn't blow up till Good Kid, Mad City. So when the thing with Kendrick is, you know, overly dedicated was not like that. Section 80, I know people, a lot of people like that little tape, but it really wasn't like that. Good
I
Kid,
said the
Mad
same,
City,
and I got
good,
killed. I got
good
killed
Kid,
on my.
Good Kid, Mad City was the one thing that he dropped that was like okay, that was like that's the one. Then when he came out with To Pimp a Butterfly, yes, there's a mass of people who love that album, but if
I
you
was
was of a certain complexion, a certain, I would say, if your nose was round, your hair was a certain texture,
Right.
9 times out of 10, you was not jacking that project. It's just not what we was listening to. Because as
right.
In New York, and I want to say this about New York, because we get a lot of the bias thing. Whatever region is the most dominant is the region that's gonna be blasting in New York like hip hop. So like I watched the Wu-Tang show, right? And I don't know how true this is because whatever, but I wasn't alive. But even in that show, they were showing you how when Ice Cube and Snoop was running shit, that New York was that's all the New York like all the people in the ghettos and all that's all they was listening to. That's why when Wu Tang came out, it was so uplifting for New York, and then they had the little renaissance, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you from personal experience in the mid 2000s, all you heard was snapback and Southern dudes in New York. You didn't hear no New York rappers like that. Baby Cam and Dipset and some 50, but that after they was like Jay-Z was in and out of retirement. Nas was like, you know, he was like those guys were like almost in the rock hemisphere. Like they were viewed as god MCs by then. So we didn't really even count them. So it was just the Southerners. Then in the early 2010s, it was Chicago and the Midwest. And I kid you not, I put this on everything I love. I seen New York dudes, at least my age, put away the Tim boots for polo boots and True Religions. I could not believe what I was seeing.
Crazy.
They were using different slang terms. They were dreading their hair like Chief Keef. I really saw that in real time. So in New York, if it's hip hop and you changing the sound and your sound is really that dominant, you're gonna change how New Yorkers quasi view your music, and they're gonna adapt to you. And this is my biggest critique of Kendrick and J. Cole right here.
Got you.
They never did anything in hip hop. There's three things in hip hop you can do. You can change the sonics, you can change the ebonics, and you can change the optics, meaning how people dress and stuff. Them two dudes have never did nothing like that in hip hop ever. I'll say J. Cole maybe kinda with the little dread and little bum fits, I guess. I don't jack it, but I mean I see some the hippie dudes do that, but that ain't for me. But I guess he can kind of say he did that, and he has his little cult. But like when people tell me Kendrick is the God MC and nobody can rock, it's like almost like they talk about him the same way they talk about Eminem. And so it doesn't matter what you say. You know, MGK could diss Eminem, beat Eminem in the diss, and people will act like Kill Shot was way better. It wasn't. We all know MGK killed him on whatever Rap Devil or whatever. It's the same thing with Kendrick. It's like almost if you say anything on him, it's like, oh, it wasn't enough. I remember Meek Mill bodied him on his little his response to Control. People online talking about, oh, it wasn't enough. It was whack. I'm like, yo, bro, y'all can't just say everything is whack because you like Kendrick. Is Kendrick
I'm with Mad Max on this. I'm with
you.
Is he really like that? You know, you can't quote him outside of Control, Family Ties, and Like That. All you know is I'm smoking on top 5. This is hip hop, and you just know what time it is. That's all people know. They can't really.
I'm the king of New York.
Like that's all people know from him. They don't know anything about like, and then he's not even really that deep. He talks about stuff in vague, like it's like super vague. It's like and he just says stuff like, you know, I'm like a parachute loose, da 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 da. It's like if people act like that is fire. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I come even as a little kid, bro. When you live in New York, like New York is such like I would say this about New York. It's like the opposite of it's like LA in a sense where their gang culture, hip hop is our culture. So even if you're not a gang banger in LA, you still grow up in that culture. So you kind of understand all the ins and outs. Even a casual hip hop fan from New York, it's such a hip hop based culture here. It's almost like a religion. So we kind of embedded in that. So I heard like Nas as like 4, 5, 6 years old before I even know who what Nas' name was really like. I didn't even know who Nas really was. But I heard Nas say freedom of jail clips and sir, the baby's being born, same time my man's murder. I heard that when I was like 20 years ago. So it's like when I hear people talk about Kendrick, it's like, or even J. Cole kind of basic, you know, but you know, he said some stuff.
It sounds like you're saying, Mad Max, is if an artist doesn't change the culture of New York City, then you don't respect it, or they're not good.
He said just the culture of hip hop, period, though.
I'm saying
right.
hip hop, period.
So change the entire culture has to change for you to be dope.
Look at Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
Snoop Dogg, I can only speak from the New York perspective. I can't speak from. I only lived in New York. I wasn't living nowhere else. So
I respect it.
When Snoop Dogg comes out, bro, 10 years later, he had Jay-Z saying Ace to the Izzo. Snoop Dogg was saying stuff like that in 92.
Yeah.
E40 was saying that in early 90s, late, you know what I mean? So yeah.
We got to wrap this up real quick, guys.
Hey, before we do, Before we wrap up, John Nori, Super Duper, anything you guys want to say before we wrap it up on this?
I agree with Mad Max though when he say what he's saying. Like they haven't they fan base, both of the fan bases that they have is kind of out of control, and they are kind of Eminem-ish. Eminem stands, like, really, when it come down to them two, is either they all the way in, you can't criticize any of their music, like everything that they made is good, classic, or whatever, and they willing to argue down about it. Back when when Nas was coming up, Jay-Z was coming up, them was my favorite two rappers, but I can criticize them properly, and I can say, well, yeah, I ain't really like that. This album was whack. That album was whack. I can be honest about it. A lot of these J. Cole and Kendrick fans, they just live in their own world. Eminem fans, they live in their own world about what it is, and you can't tell them nothing. And they such fans or stands that nothing that they do is bad. And that's really the biggest problem that I got with the even the younger fan base. I'm 43. I'm from Milwaukee, so I'm in the middle of everything, and I'm a truck driver, so I travel the whole country.
Right.
When fans become overly obsessed with their fandom, you can't tell them nothing.
Yeah,
and that's a new thing right now. That's a new thing. Like that's something that's just coming up and starting to be a part of hip hop, to where you either a diehard or you a hater if you don't like it. It's just like it's no in between right now.
I think Eminem's fan base has helped create it that way, to be honest. Right. But yeah, I want all of you guys to come back on Monday too, man, so we can, really flesh this out a little bit more, because I can't wait to actually cover what happens at Dreamville Festival, because I have the inkling that something is about to happen this weekend, or at least it should. And even if it doesn't, I think we need to cover the fact that there was a missed opportunity there.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Go say one thing, brother.
Yeah. So I agree with everything Mad Max was saying. I do believe that both Kendrick and J. Cole definitely have cult fan bases, but we have to remember it's not the 90s no more. This is the information age. You're going to have a lot of conflicting ideals when it comes to the mainstream hip hop. There is no quality control. So whatever is more viral, or whatever is more impactful for the youth, that's what you're going to see replicated. And it's no surprise that we're seeing the most lower versions of the genre being uplifted for the virality of selling product. So of course, a lot of the stuff that's being pushed onto every hood, because New York looks the same in LA and all these different hoods. Everybody wants to get the locks, and everybody now wants to make stuff that sounds more bouncy. Now that you got the African influence coming from the music now, that's what the information age is, where everyone's getting the same influence and spreading that, and it's killing the culture. It's breaking everything down to a look at me kind of basis. And it's hard to judge artists when they have to compete with that. So when you have the ones that come out who stand on their square, standing on business, this is what I'm about. Yes, it might not be able to still bring that same kind of culture impact on the level that we had in the 90s and the 2000s, but it's what we have as quality.
Kendrick is from the information age. You know what I mean? He resonates with a different group of people. We were here before the information age. In 2 days, we're going into another age. We're going beyond the information age, and we're going into a mesh of both worlds, of where man becomes in sync with that technology. So we're going to have another shift. So, Kendrick, he speaks to a certain group of people. We were here in the physical age, physical copies. You know what I mean? So we're going to see. I think Kendrick has earned his spot with them, with Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly. But I understand people that's saying they didn't feel it. It didn't resonate where they're from. I understand. You know what I mean?
All right, we appreciate you, John Nori. Call back in, super duper next week. Call back in, brother. We appreciate y'all tuning in.
Absolutely.
Max, good looking out.
No problem.
So the question that somebody hit in the chat: did J. Cole win?
Well, I mean, based on, and I wanted to get to the poll before we get out of here. We got 525 votes, and overwhelmingly, it looks like people, at least in here, feels like J. Cole's up 62% to 38% when it comes to Kendrick. I think a lot of that could be recency type of stuff, but we're just gonna have to see how he responds. I mean, if anything, I think the table's been set for somebody like Kendrick's skill set and somebody with his legacy that got him ranked number 2 all time to be able to respond to this adequately. So, I mean, shots were thrown on both ends. We all know that J. Cole is a worthy opponent, so there's no excuse to not respond here.
Right. We got one more caller that just called in. Let's see what they have to say, and then we can kind of wrap it up.
Okay. All right. Who we got here?
Who we got
Hey,
on the
what's
line?
good? Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
What's good? Yeah, so man, I'm loving this conversation. I'm JR Designs in the chat for everybody.
JR Designs in the building. What's good, man?
What's good? Yeah, I'm Rainy from St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised. So I'm getting this stuff from the center of the United States. So I'm from the Midwest, so we get a little bit of everything. We're influenced by all you guys from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, from up top to down south. So all respect due to y'all. But I think this is just a microcosm of the millennials. Like all three of these are rap artists, the top three, the big three, or whatever. And I think it's just interesting, like the previous caller was saying, like because of the information age, there is no clear top dog, really, in my opinion, because how fast things change, because information is just running rampant. So people are not allowed to really digest and take in really anything. So there's a lack of substance, and then that blurs the lines a lot of times. So I think that's why so many people get into these arguments, and it's hard to like really decipher who's the one. Like you had clearly back in the 90s, it was Pac, it was big. Like you could scrap it out. Most people pick Pac or whatever just because the amount of output he put out and just the quality and how he resonated with the people. But like now, like all three of these dudes, they all got something that other one doesn't have.
Yep.
So it blurs the line, and you can see this in other aspects of life. Like you go to the NBA, like people argue LeBron, Steph, Durant, they all three of them got something the other one doesn't have. So it's a legitimate argument. So you see the confusion. It's like the Tower of Babel out here, you know?
For sure. No, I agree with that 100%. And their strong points are very different. Kendrick has the albums, Drake has the hits, and Cole has the features and lyrical ability and connectivity.
For you, did Kendrick bring any Pac energy with him when he came into his era?
It was a little bit reminded. I know both of them are Geminis or whatever. They like to play. They're very artsy. One day you get the nice guy, then the next day it's like this nigga's ready for war. And you're like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? By the way, my brother's a Gemini, so I'm used to that energy.
Both of them, they galvanized the people. Pac came in with a cross on his back, literally and figuratively. He tatted it on his back. He galvanized the people. Kendrick comes in. He talks about how his affinity for Tupac, and then his music galvanized the people under great pressure. You know what I mean? So there are some parallels.
There are some similarities, yes, no doubt. But this is why I would say this is what makes the battle for me very interesting, because I know a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is mid." J. Cole responds back, but I'm the type of dude. I'm a strategist. I like to study the art of war. It's like, why would J. Cole jump out the window for Kendrick? Kendrick jumped on a feature. He didn't even really give me enough to go off of. So why? That's a waste of energy. I'm about energy. So like, why would I waste my energy on a dude that's not even? Obviously, he has something in the tuck. So I'm gonna respond back with the same energy. He gonna come back harder, I'm pretty sure, next. And then that's when I'm gonna lay the smack down on him, because it's like, all right, get it out, bro. Just get it out. So now I know, I always fear the dude that goes second in the battle, because you know all the information. It's like, all right, what else you gonna say? Because ball is my court. Now I control the outcome and how this is gonna go. Everything's on me. You know what I'm saying?
Because now Kendrick's in a backward position because Cole's able to just respond to whatever Kendrick's throws.
Exactly. And you I forget the guy, I think it was LeRoy, he was talking about the similarities between Pac and Kendrick. I would say there are similarities, but the real guy, unfortunately, is not here anymore. And his name was Nipsey Hussle. He's the real one that really resonated with the people, not even just out there on the West Coast. Like, even people I can vouch here in St. Louis, like when we found out he died, it was literally like you could feel the energy just dropped. Yeah. Because Nipsey resonated with the people in the streets. Like,
I gotta push back. I gotta push back a little bit, and he definitely resonated. And this goes back to the Pac from my view. I was a Nipsey fan very early on, right at Crenshaw, and a little bit before that actually. And I was telling people, man, this dude Nipsey, this is who people gotta watch. And people were like, oh. People was like, nah, I can't rock with Nipsey. And I was like, bro, Nipsey's going to be one of them ones, though. And people couldn't see where I was coming from with that, in my view.
Yeah. And I see the similarities because they were like, Nipsey, he ain't really like super lyrical, don't hear it. But like the same way with Pac, people say Pac wouldn't, but you felt that shit in your spirit when he spoke. Like, it's like a general coming to his army and just speaking, like everybody, all of a sudden you see the general walk in, everybody at attention. It was on some shit like that with Nipsey. I don't get that same energy with Kendrick. Like, it's a lot of fandom or whatever, a lot of praises, but as far as like niggas being ready for some shit, like I think Nipsey was going to be that guy, and unfortunately he's not here anymore.
Yeah, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. But yeah, I appreciate you calling in. Definitely call in Monday as well, man. You made some great points. And we're gonna see how this whole thing pans out and plays out, especially over this weekend.
Also, one quick thing. Like, I love y'all sports talk. I'm hoping y'all one day get like a sports show. If y'all do, hit me up, because I agree with some of the shit y'all be saying. Some other shit, I'll be like, all right, we need a millennial perspective.
Appreciate it, brother.
Hit us up. Hit us on
millennial perspective on y'all sports talks.
Email us with some ideas, man. We make that happen, brother. But call in on Monday, man. We appreciate you. No doubt, brother. Have a good weekend. Peace.
Thank you, brother.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, we're going in the Dreamville Festival. Looking forward to what's going to happen this weekend. We're going to cover it Monday on Monday's show. Get ready for that producer tournament. We're actually going to start that Monday. LeRoy, appreciate you coming in as always. I got Cole to end this thing off. I'm going to say I got Cole in the matchup. I picked a side. Got to pick a side. I'm picking Cole in this matchup, and it really ain't even nothing to think about at this point for me. I could be wrong, but
LeRoy, what you thinking on that end? What you got on that end, man? Close this out. What's your final thought on this whole situation?
You know what? As much as me and Mike don't agree a lot of times, I'll ride with him. I'll ride Shotty on that. You know, Cole got he got him right now. As much as I tried to defend Kendrick, Cole, you know, I gotta agree with my man Mike. You know,
at a high level, I got to go with the guy that's rapping with the hot hand, man.
I'm with you. All right,
I got y'all hit like and subscribe. We already know what Ron is on this.
Hit like and subscribe. J. Cole, checkmate, baby, checkmate.
Yes, sir.
Checkmate. All right, appreciate you guys checking in on the Saturday. Everybody have a great weekend. Look forward to the tournament starting Monday, and news updates coming soon.
No doubt. We appreciate you guys, man.
Hip
hop forever. Peace.
In the morning with a big grin on my face. Took off my do-rag so I can brush down the bicycle waves. Tap shorty next to me wearing that micro braids. She was choosing my temple phase, so this one is where she lays. Hey, they were on the strap, even before we did all the facts. She taking Decatur, but she lives in my lap. Rap. My nigga Rio had to put the drive on the map. We walking really slow because we got the South on our back. Yeah, my nigga flawless in the cranberry color lack. With that I fit with the matching shoes and the A-Town hat. Act up if you wanna, you'll get put down on your back. Getting stumped out by like 8 Air Force Ones with the loosest strap. You ain't even in